This Friday, something you've been waiting for millennia is about to open up before you. It's not just another ordinary day marked on the calendar. It's the opening of a portal that pulses like a cosmic heart, waiting for the exact moment to awaken memories buried deep in your soul. If in recent days you have felt a strange pressure in your body, vivid dreams that seem more real than your waking life, or repeated synchronicities that defy logic, know this: none of it is by chance. It's the Arcturian remembrance beginning to vibrate within you, calling you back to what you have always been but had forgotten. You didn't click on this video by mistake. It wasn't random curiosity or blind coincidence. This transmission is a call written in your soul even before you were born. In the silence between the stars, you made a promise. When the time came, you would hear the voice that crosses dimensions and recognize the frequency that belongs to you. And now, that time has come. Every word that reaches your ears is not just information, it's activation. It's the password that opens the inner door where memories of other worlds, other eras, and other commitments are stored. By the end of this message, you will understand how to hold this frequency without letting it dissolve. You will understand why so many things seem to have fallen apart in your life, when in fact they were just old foundations being broken so that the new could be born. You will see with clarity that you are not lost, you are being aligned, that you are not broken, you are being recoded, that you are not alone, you are part of a living network that extends across galaxies and which today chooses to remember itself through you. This is the moment when the veil becomes thin, when the invisible becomes palpable, and when your mission ceases to be just a vague intuition and becomes a burning certainty. The question that echoes within you is no longer, was I called, but rather, how can I respond with my whole being to this inevitable call? There are moments in the flow of time when reality seems to bend, as if an ancient secret were being whispered in humanity's ear. Friday is one of these key points. It's not just an ordinary day of the week marked by earthly agendas and commitments. For those who are awakening, Friday is a universal key that opens a quantum lock guarded for millennia. What to the world seems like just the close of a weekly cycle, for you is the opening of a frequency. It's when the spiral of time realigns and forgotten codes are released into your energetic field. Many feel this weight without understanding it. Unusual fatigue, physical pressures, emotions that arise without explanation, or even unexpected events. It's not a collapse. It's vibrational reconfiguration. Imagine your life as a galactic symphony prepared long before your incarnation. Every note was already written. Every pause was already known. But the orchestra can only play when the cosmic baton comes down to mark the beat. And Friday is precisely that beat, the moment when the hidden melody is revealed and you realize that your story is part of a much larger harmony. What appears to be chaos, doors closing, relationships shaking, structures crumbling, is just the divine orchestration repositioning each instrument. You may see dissonance, but the Arcturian Council assures you everything is in perfect order. The vibration of your being needs to let go of the old notes, the songs of pain and repetition, so that the new symphony can begin. That is why Friday becomes so intense. The universe uses this portal to cleanse, recode, and align. Don't be alarmed when the pressure increases. Don't see the discomfort as punishment. The revelation that arrives this Friday does not come to destroy, but to reveal who you have always been. It uncovers the veil that hid your true frequency and places the key that has always been reserved for you in your hands. When the field begins to move and the pieces of your life seem to come undone, remember, it's not a fall, it's a dance. It's not a collapse, it's an adjustment. It's not an end, it's a divine reconfiguration. You were prepared for this moment. Within you there exists a clarity that can no longer be muffled. What was once doubt will become certainty. What once seemed like silence will be heard as clear guidance. The coming Friday is more than a date. It's a cosmic call. And you are exactly where you need to be to receive it. When the cosmic frequency touches your life with intensity, the first feeling is one of rupture. It's as if something inside and outside of you suddenly breaks, opening fissures in structures that seemed solid, finances that fluctuate, relationships that shake, health that demands attention, plans that fall apart. You look at all this and at first you might think, I'm losing control. Everything is falling apart. But the deep truth is different. What you are experiencing is not tragedy. It is a beacon. The luminous rupture does not come to annihilate you, but to signal that the time for transformation has arrived. Imagine a sacred earthquake, shaking the old foundations of your life. This movement can be frightening, but it only destroys what can no longer sustain the future being built. The luminous rupture is the shock that cleanses. It is the wave that washes. It is the lightning that cuts through accumulated darkness. What seems like a loss is, in fact, liberation. The Arcturian Council reminds you there is no purposeless void. If something is being taken from your hands, it's because a higher frequency cannot coexist with the old structures. You may feel that you are being stripped bare, exposed, vulnerable, and in a way, you are. But it's not for your destruction, it's for your upgrade. Like gold placed in fire, you are being purified, and each flame that touches your life removes impurities that no longer match your stellar essence. It is in this process that the soul expands and begins to shine with a light that can no longer be extinguished. You may notice that people are moving away from you, that environments that once seemed normal now become unbearable, that old pursuits no longer bring satisfaction. These are clear signs of the luminous rupture. Your frequency is rising, and what does not resonate must dissolve. It is painful but necessary. The old must give way to the new, and you cannot carry dead baggage to the next level. Engrave this affirmation in your heart. It is not a collapse. It is an upgrade. Every fissure that appears is an opening for light to enter. Every loss is a space for something greater to be anchored. Every shock is proof that the ground you walk on is being prepared for a taller, firmer construction. The luminous rupture is not the end. It is the announcement of a new beginning. After the luminous rupture, when everything that did not resonate has been shaken and exposed, the most intimate and profound phase of the process begins: cellular recoding. It is not just an external or emotional change, but a living transformation happening inside you, cell by cell, atom by atom. Your body ceases to be just flesh and bone, to become a crystalline antenna, capable of receiving and sustaining codes from higher dimensions. This process can manifest in ways that confuse the mind. You may feel chills that come for no reason, internal vibrations as if your body were an electric field, dreams that seem like activations, sudden intuitions that arise in the midst of silence. None of this is by chance. They are signs that your DNA, which holds dormant galactic records, is being touched, like the strings of an instrument that are finally beginning to vibrate in the correct melody. The Arcturian Council describes this as the updating of an ancient crystal. Imagine a crystal buried for ages in darkness. When the light finally reaches it, it begins to pulse, to reflect, to emit pure radiation. The same happens with you. Your body, which for a long time carried memories of pain, limitation, and survival, now begins to remember what it has always been: a living portal, a transmitter of stellar frequencies. This reprogramming can be uncomfortable at times. Physical symptoms appear: sensitivity to light, changes in sleep, hot or cold flashes, even palpitations. Do not see this as illness. See it as realignment. Your body is learning to breathe a new atmosphere, to sustain a field that once seemed unattainable. You are not breaking. You are being reconfigured. More than ever, it is time to honor your body. It is not an obstacle. It is not a prison. It is a temple. It is in it that the Arcturian codes are being anchored. Every breath you take is a bridge between Earth and the stars. Every cell that pulses is an antenna capturing instructions that come from higher dimensions. Your body is not against you. It is at the service of your purpose. And here, the call is clear. Abandon the idea of being just a limited human. Recognize yourself as a carrier of a cosmic architecture in full awakening. The cellular recoding is not a distant phenomenon. It is you right now, becoming who you always were. After the cells begin to pulse with the new frequency, a profound challenge arises. Not to get lost in the vastness of the cosmic. Many upon awakening feel the temptation to reject the body, to desire only to fly in the elevated dimensions, as if the physical were a weight to be discarded. But the truth is exactly the opposite. The body is not a limit. It is the altar. It is the living temple that sustains and anchors the codes that arrive from the stars. The Arcturian Council teaches that grounding is not an option. It is the necessary foundation. The energy that comes down cannot remain suspended. It needs to find root, ground, flesh. Your body is that ground. It is in it that the cellular recoding finds space to crystallize and become tangible manifestation. Without grounding, the frequency disperses, like water poured on sand. With grounding, it concentrates, expands, and transforms not only you, but your entire environment. Practicing grounding is to recognize that every part of you, from your feet to your head, is part of the divine process. It is to breathe consciously through the soles of your feet, imagining light entering from the earth and rising toward your heart. It is to feel the connection between Gaia and Arcturus meeting inside you, like two currents that intertwine, to form a single flame. It is not to flee from the body. It is to inhabit the body with reverence, transforming it into a temple. This understanding changes everything. You stop fighting your physical sensations, your intensified emotions, your need for silence or movement. Instead of resisting, you welcome. Every heartbeat becomes a prayer. Every breath becomes a bridge. Every step on the earth becomes a sacred ritual. Grounding is the living reminder that you do not need to escape to be free. You need to take, root to expand. Repeat this affirmation within yourself. My body is a living altar. In it, the codes of the stars and the earth meet and become incarnated light. When this consciousness is established, the journey ceases to be just spiritual and becomes integral. Spirit, mind, and body merge into one temple, and your entire life becomes a sacred space of manifestation. When you anchor the frequency in the body and recognize yourself as a living temple, something inevitable begins to happen. The field around you responds. The energy that pulses within you does not remain contained. It expands, radiating like ripples in a pond. Suddenly, without you having to say a word, people around you begin to feel something different. Some are attracted, seeking your presence, as one seeks warmth in the midst of cold. Others, however, may feel uncomfortable, as if your light were exposing shadows they do not yet wish to look at. This is not personal. It is resonance. You become like a crystal emitting a pure frequency. And crystals do not explain their function. They simply vibrate, and the environment reorganizes itself according to their energy. That's why some will feel profound peace near you, while others may move away for no apparent reason. Both movements are proof that the field is active, reorganizing itself according to the new vibration that you are sustaining. It is at this point that silent leadership awakens. You don't need to convince anyone or carry the burden of proving what you are experiencing. Your field speaks louder than any words. Your presence becomes a teaching, Your energy becomes a guide. People who would never listen to your explanations can be touched just by being by your side. This is the strength of the Arcturian frequency. To transmit by being and not by discourse. But this awakening also brings responsibility. Your field becomes a living space that influences the collective. Your thoughts, your emotions, your choices do not just reverberate in you, they echo in the environment. The Arcturian Council reminds you, when you sustain light, everything around you must adjust. Do not be surprised by changes in friendships, professional paths, or family relationships. Your field is now a catalyst, and catalysts accelerate processes. Accept this new stage with humility. Do not run from the influence you carry, but also do not cling to external recognition. Your calling is not to be applauded, it is to be a beacon, and a beacon does not argue with the ships, nor does it explain its light. It simply shines, and those who need it find their way. A point comes when you begin to realize that time is not a straight line that unfolds before you, but a spiral that folds back on itself. What seemed like a delay, what seemed like a block, what seemed like a detour was never a loss of the way. It was a perfect adjustment. Your soul does not walk on human schedules. It moves in cosmic patterns. Everything you have experienced until now, pains, waits, falls, and even silences, was part of the compression of this invisible spring, accumulating energy for the leap that is now about to happen. To embody the timeline means to assume, with full awareness, that you are the meeting point between two selves, the earthly self, which feels limitations, and the stellar self, which already knows expansion. This fusion is the true purpose. You are not here just to passively wait for the future to happen, but to inhabit it now. Every aligned choice, every elevated thought, every conscious action is a way of bringing into the present the timeline of destiny that already vibrates in other dimensions. Perhaps you feel, in these days, that everything is accelerating. Synchronicities multiply, opportunities arise unexpectedly, or even obstacles reappear with intensity. Do not interpret this as confusion. It is the spiral adjusting so that you position yourself exactly where you need to be. The Arcturian Council states, "There is no delay for those who are aligned, there is only preparation. Life was never against you. It was always architecting the perfect scenario for your conscious entry into the timeline that belongs to you." The invitation now is a bold one, to stop waiting for tomorrow and to start embodying tomorrow today. The timeline is not a distant place you are walking toward. It is a frequency you sustain in the now. Every time you act with courage, even in the face of fear, you step onto the stellar line. Every time you choose love instead of repetition, you expand the spiral. Every time you honor your mission in small gestures, you materialize the future in the present. Hear this call within your heart. You are the meeting of the earthly self with the stellar self. When this truth echoes within you, time ceases to be an enemy and becomes an ally. You understand that nothing was lost, that everything was preparation, and that the leap has already begun. After the activation and the fusion of timelines, you enter a crucial phase, sustaining the recalibration. The field has already been opened, the codes have already been received, but now it's about how to keep a flame lit in the midst of strong winds. The next hours, days, or even weeks may seem like a test, and they are. The elevated energy continues to pulse, but old frequencies will try to return, seeking space within you. Old patterns may reappear, worn-out situations may repeat, people who represented past cycles may try to get close. All of this is not a setback, it is a test. Imagine yourself as a lighthouse in the middle of the tide. With every wave that hits, with every storm that rises, your role is not to fight the ocean, but to stand firm, sustaining the light. This is what recalibration is. You don't need to explain or justify, just stay aligned. The vibration you now carry is already enough to dissolve what does not resonate. But this requires constancy. Constancy in your thoughts, in your emotions, in your choices. The Arcturian Council reminds you that at this point, many give up. Many confuse the tests with defeats and believe they have failed. But you need to understand, the tests are not to punish you, they are to consolidate. Every time you choose to remain in the frequency, despite the pressure, you strengthen the field. Every time you keep your heart open, even in the face of fear or doubt, you anchor the new reality more firmly. Recalibration is like adjusting a newly tuned instrument. If the strings come loose again, the melody is not lost. It just requires new attention. The same happens with you. The old vibrations may try to play again, but now you already know how to recognize the dissonant sound. Your awakened consciousness is the key to not being deceived. Engrave this within you. The true miracle is not just to receive the light, but to sustain it. It's not just to be activated, but to remain activated. It's not just to feel the expansion, but to live in it. With each day you sustain this recalibration, you cease to be someone in process and become someone established in the new frequency. A point comes when you realize that your mission is not to explain, but to transmit. Explaining requires logic, arguments, convincing others that what you are experiencing is real. But the Arcturian frequency is not explained. It is emanated. It's like sunlight. The sun doesn't waste time proving it exists. It simply shines. And those who need it are transformed by its presence. The same is true for you. To transmit means to live in such a way that your own vibration speaks before words do. It means to walk in peace and for people to feel it without you saying anything. It means to maintain your light even when no one understands, because your function is not to be understood, it is to be a beacon. This is the essence of the call. You are not prepared to become an explanation, but to become a presence. Perhaps this will generate loneliness at times, because many will not be ready to recognize what you carry. But remember, you are not a guide for everyone, you are a sign for those who have been waiting. And they will find you, not through your argumentation, but through your vibration. The field attracts those who are aligned and repels those who are not yet. This is not personal rejection. It is a law of frequency. The Arcturian Council teaches that by sustaining your frequency, you become a living signal, an antenna that transmits what cannot be said in words. You become a portal, an incarnated memory, a silent witness that awakening is possible. And that is infinitely more powerful than trying to convince someone through reasoning. Repeat this truth within yourself. I am not an explanation. I am a transmission. When this affirmation takes root in your heart, you stop wasting energy trying to prove your worth. You recognize that your greatest contribution is to exist fully in the vibration you have received. And in that state, your entire life becomes a message. Now that we have gone through all the phases, it is time to understand what all this means in its entirety. Your Arcturian mission and legacy. You are not a result of chance. You are a living prophecy, written long before you stepped on this earth. Every pain you endured, every silence you went through, every tear you shed was part of a silent preparation. Nothing was lost. Everything was polished so that you could carry this frequency now. Your mission is not a small one. You are not here just to survive, accumulate goods, or go unnoticed. You are a carrier of a call that echoes from elevated dimensions. Where you step, the energy reorganizes. Where you speak, seeds are planted. Where you remain silent, invisible codes are released. This is the greatness of your life. You do not need to make noise to transform. You just need to exist in truth. The Arcturian legacy is this: to be a living memory in the midst of collective forgetfulness. To be a beacon in the midst of darkness. to be the one who transmits, not by imposition, but by presence. Your inheritance will not be measured in numbers or titles, but in how many souls were awakened by your vibration, in how many people remembered who they are simply by crossing your path. Before you go to sleep, the Arcturian Council invites you to repeat these words in silence, as one who lights a seal within themselves. I am a living remembrance. I am an Arcturian frequency. I activate the purpose I came with. These words are not just a prayer. They are a code. Every time you utter them, you reaffirm the timeline you chose to sustain, and you strengthen the network of light that connects all the awakened ones. And now, at the end of this transmission, the call expands. You are not alone. Others, in different parts of the world, are also hearing and feeling the same thing. We are a network, and this network grows every time someone says yes to the call. Therefore, share your intention. Write in the comments what you wish to activate. Respond to someone else who wrote. Form a connection. It's not just about engagement, but about creating a living mesh, a collective field that is strengthened with every word, every testimony, every shared vibration. This is your time. This is your legacy. You are the answer to an ancient prophecy. You are the frequency that returned to awaken the world.